everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm glad you're here. Today I'm going to show you how to make a card using the October stamp of the month called Blessings of the First Noel. I'm also going to use papers from Christmas Story and the festive slimline embossing folder. So this stamp set has lots of great sentiments that can be used on the front or on the inside of cards. So I'm going to use the sentiment that says, "May the blessings of the first Noel fill your heart with peace and joy." Okay, so I'm going to start out with my embossing folder, and I've cut a piece of pine cardstock down to a slimline size, which is 3.5 by 8.5. And I'm lining it up inside the embossing folder. I want to make sure that the design will be straight and centered all the way around. And then off camera, I ran that through. And then I'm going to take a sanding block, and I'm just going to lightly sand the color off of the embossed areas to expose the white core of the cardstock. So I'm going over lightly and just exposing the design. And then I'm going to go in with a piece of fine sandpaper, and I'm going to go over each of these small poinsettias that are in the design and take off just a little bit more color off of each of the poinsettias. You can take off as much or as little as you want to expose the white core. Okay. All right, so we have that ready to go. And then I'm going to bring in my Misty, and I have this stamp loaded in, and I have a piece of sage cardstock, and I'm going to stamp in scarlet. I'm going to stamp twice because I want this sentiment to show up and be really bold. So I'm going to ink it up twice in scarlet ink and stamp it down. Okay, so we have our sentiment ready to go. All right, so now I'm going to trim out some of these patterned papers from Christmas Story. Okay, so I'm just going to trim off some strips of paper. The first one is going to be 3/4 of an inch. The next one is going to be 1/2 inch. And then the last one is going to be 1/4 of an inch. So this design is great for scraps and those small strips of extra paper that you have when you're creating. Just hang on to them and you can use them for this design. So now I'm just trimming down and straightening out my sentiment, and I'm trimming right up against where the writing is. I want it to be as tight as possible there. And then I'm measuring it. It's about 1 7/8 inch. So I'm going to trim down each of these strips to that size. So I want 2 of each at 1 7/8. Okay, now we have all our components and we can start building our card. So I have a slimline base, and then I'll put that embossed piece down with Tombow tape runner. Pretty simple card design, but it's going to have lots of texture and interest. Okay, so I'm going to center the sentiment in that non-embossed area, and then I'm going to line up all of my little strips of paper. Okay, so I have my design all laid out, and then I'm just going to glue everything down. So I'll glue a couple down and then I'll skip ahead. Pretty simple. You can use tape runner if you want to. I just find with these small strips it's easier to use the needle tip glue. Okay, so we have all those glued down, and then I'm going to pop my sentiment using some thin foam tape. So I'm going to line that up right in the center. So I'll have just a tiny little strip of pine cardstock showing at the top and bottom. Okay, now I'm going to take this clear Stardust gel pen and I'm going to trace over the word joy. It's very subtle, but in real life, it really makes a difference and makes that word nice and sparkly. And I'll have some close-up shots at the end so you'll be able to see how cool this little technique is. Super simple, but really makes a difference. And then I'm going to bring in a scarlet shimmer brush and I'm going to paint each one of these poinsettias. So we'll do one and then I'll skip ahead. So I'm just painting over the design in the embossing. I'm just adding some scarlet color and shimmer. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in some rose gold liquid pearls. And I'm going to add a pearl of color inside each of these poinsettias. And for the last step, I've got some stickles, and this is in Christmas red. Getting it started on a piece of Kleenex there. And I'm going to add some little berries to the holly design in the embossing. Just kind of picking a few of them around the design to add some more interest and sparkle to my card front. And there it is. Lots of texture and interest to this card. So you can purchase this Stamp of the Month for $5 with any $50 purchase, or you'll get it for free with any $50 purchase during the month of October. I'll make a list of supplies that I used with links in the description below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And thanks for watching.